Hello everybody, and welcome back to MLB The Show 17. My name's James, or JT Plays on YouTube, and today for you guys, we have something a little different than our Road to the Show franchise Diamond Dynasty. Today we are doing my 2017 World Series champions. Today we are discussing the breakdown of all 10 teams that will make the playoffs, strengths, weaknesses, where they finish, and so on and so forth. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, become part of the Gamers Club, and let's get into it. Starting off with the American League, the #1 seed this year, I think that will bring home the AL title. The Cleveland Indians. They went 94-67 last year. They averaged 269, 339 ERA. Obviously, Corey Kluber. The addition of Edward Encarnacion. Those two guys on pitching and batting, they are going to make a world of difference. Obviously, Francisco Lindor is thrown in there. He's a great shortstop. Probably #1 in the AL, if not the whole MLB. And it's a tough team to beat. I mean, they had a 3-1 lead in the World Series. Cubs came back. They never stopped trying. And that really was the only way anyone was going to beat them, coming back like that. Second seed in the American League, the Boston Red Sox. They went 93-69 last year. They averaged 283, ERA of 353. Their strengths, a lot of young guys. Mookie Betts, Alexander Bogaerts. The list goes on and on. Their weakness, I think it's going to kill them just like it did last year, the inexperience of said young guys. Yes, you're young. Yes, you're feisty. But when it comes down to it, veterans will conquer. The weakness for the Indians, well, there's not many, but I would say everyone after Trevor Bauer and Corey Kluber on pitching. Their bullpen's not the greatest. Their starting five definitely is not the greatest, while their 3 to 5 is not the greatest. So I think that's their weakness. Third seed in the L, the Toronto Blue Jays. They are going to go ahead and they are going to finish second behind Boston. They went 89-73 last year. Their weakness is losing Encarnacion in the offseason, losing a couple more guys. Their strength, they got Jose Bautista back in Toronto for at least a year. I think he has a player option on him. Their pitching, it's really, really good. They have a great fan base, and overall, they played tough last year. Fourth seed in the American League, the Texas Rangers. They went 95-67. They were actually the first seed in the AL last year. We all know what happened to them, though. So, they averaged 265, 371. Again, young guys are great for them. Odor, their pitching, their farm system. It's a team you sleep on, but when they start to come up and play their game, they are a threat. Their weaknesses, I just think they, if not, could be the weakest team in the AL or the entire postseason out of every team. Saying that, moving on to wildcard spot #2. Actually, I said 5 teams. Yeah, no, it's 5 teams. Okay, I thought it was 6. I'm thinking of NFL and all that. The 5th seed in the AL. Who's gonna get that second wild card? There's a lot of teams. I think the Detroit Tigers will. Miguel Cabrera. I believe just his bat alone will scare teams. Also, you got Verlander. He could be dominant this year. I think it's a toss-up, though. But I do think Detroit will take it. They finished 86-75 last year. 268 average, 4.12 ERA. That pitching, it's going to be a little iffy at times. But I think Detroit will get the second wild card. On to the National League. The Chicago Cubs, just like they did last year, won the whole thing. They will secure that top spot in the NL. Weaknesses, really, you can't say any, except for bullpen. Strengths, Javier Baez, Jake Arrieta, Kyle Schwarber will be looking to come back this year after an injury he sustained in, the third game of last year. So many more guys. And, of course, Wrigley Field's home fan base, so can't really beat them. Dodgers will get second seed. They will beat out the Giants. Giants always seem like a wild card team. And, ironically, second wild card team. They barely squeak in, and then they make deep runs. Obviously, they played the Cubs last year. Cubs are a new team. You just don't know what they're going to do anymore. But the Dodgers, Kershaw, really that's all they have on pitching. Just Kershaw. He can't play in the playoffs, but I do expect him to do so good they do get a second seed. The third seed, Nationals. Very interesting team. You have quite possibly in the MLB the best 1-2 punch at rotation with Scherzer and Strasburg. I mean, they were just lights out. Scherzer almost threw 3-4 no-hitters last year. He had so many 2-hit shutouts of Fior. Strasburg, he was kind of the shadow behind Scherzer, and I think that will propel the Nationals to a third seed NL. Also, really the only division you have in there, the Mets, I think they will fall off. I do not have them making the playoffs. And then the Marlins, who are a 500 club. Obviously, they can go higher or lower, but I think they'll finish 500. The fourth seed, the San Francisco Giants, the first wild card team. Obviously, you got to throw in Bumgarner and Cueto and Samardzija. Then you got to throw in the hitters, Posey, Pence. Really, I mean, for power hitters, that's all you have. You have Bell. You have young guys like Joe Panic. I think they will finish behind the Dodgers by only 5 or less games. If not, it seemed a lot closer. I mean, they had to win out the last 4 games of the season to even make the postseason. They did. They just kept fighting. I think they'll keep fighting, and they'll get a first wild card spot. The second wild card spot, no New York Mets. We have, or I have at least, the St. Louis Cardinals. That division of the NL Central, that was an absolutely ugly division if you were not the Mets, not the Mets, sorry, the Cardinals, the Pirates, or the Cubs. Cubs, I mean, Cubs broke a record, 103 wins. You're talking 108 years of not making the playoffs. 5 more wins, they would have tied how many years they haven't gone without winning the World Series. Maybe not playoffs. Actually, I think playoffs too. Pirates, I think they fell a little short from where they were supposed to be. I think they should have got second in the division. But the St. Louis Cardinals, Wainwright, Carpenter, hitters like Moss, it's the sleeper team of the NL. You just don't know what they're going to do until they get in. And when they do get on their game, they will hurt you. It's just like the Rangers. You just don't know what they're going to do. They're unpredictable. And I have them beating the Pirates out. I have them beating the Mets out. And I have them making the second wild card. So from here, I really haven't touched too much into this. We are going to advance this. But my predictions on your screen now before any of this starts, I have the Giants beating the Cardinals. I have the Dodgers beating the Nationals. I have the Rangers beating the Tigers. I have the Red Sox beating the Blue Jays. To keep to the AL side, I have the Cleveland Indians beating the Texas Rangers. I have Cleveland beating Boston. So that means Cleveland will be in the World Series. Who are they facing? Well, out of the winner of the Chicago Cubs and San Francisco Giants, I do strongly believe the Cubs will win again. And then out of the Cubs Nationals, I think the Cubs will win. So it's an Indians-Cubs rematch of the World Series. And from there, I think the Indians are so torn from last year, they will come back harder than ever, and they will reclaim the World Series for Cleveland. something they could not do 1 year ago, and they will be your 2017 World Series champions. Now, we're not going to select any teams if we have to. I mean, we'll select the Giants. I am a Giants fan, and we're not going to worry about any of this, but we're just going to simulate. We're going to see what MLB The Show says what's going to happen between Tigers, Rangers, Giants, Cardinals. We're just going to see. So we are going to sim the postseason, and there we go. We already got that wrong, and they think the Blue Jays and Nationals are going to be in the World Series, and they think the Blue Jays are going to win it all. So let's see what happened in the postseason. Toronto sweeps Boston. Got it wrong there. Texas loses to Tigers. Got it wrong. Tigers beat Cleveland. Got it wrong. Toronto, Detroit. It's like March Madness all over again. We just can't get around right. Toronto will sweep Detroit in the ALCS 4-0. On the NL, St. Louis takes it over the Giants. Wrong. Cubs beat St. Louis. We get that right. We get the Cub pick right. Nationals pick is right. Actually, no, we said the Dodgers. So we get that wrong. Nationals win over Dodgers. Cubs, Nationals go 7. Nationals win. There's another wrong pick. So we didn't get any picks right on the AL, and we only got one pick right on the NL, and that was the Cubs playing the winner of the Cardinals and Giants and them advancing. And then Toronto goes even further. They do not lose a single game in the playoffs, just like Kansas City did, 3 years ago now? And they just sweep everybody. Boston 3-0, Detroit 4-0. They sweep the World Series 4-0. So guys, that's my predictions. What's yours? Leave your thoughts, comments, suggestions down in the comment area below. Tell me what you think. What do you think's going to happen? Who do you have making the World Series?